Hey, thanks for clicking on my face and joining this channel. You're going to click subscribe. I can totally feel it. I already love my subscribers. They mean a lot to me. I know every single one of them by heart. And I would love to get to know you too by you clicking subscribe, because my love is conditional and I can be bought. I'm John Stark from BackTheMovieGuy.com. I'm a blind film critic, and this is Sisu. Yup. I watched this. Rented it off of iTunes. I wanted to make sure that I watched it with audio description because I was under the impression that the whole thing was in another language, because I think it comes from Finland, or it takes place in Finland, and they're fighting Nazis. If this is a dubbed cast, this is like the best dubbing that I've ever heard. I think these might be actors speaking English. I don't really know because I can't see the lips. But I have to say, if these are dubbed, I'm all about dubbing. If we can hire the studio that hired these actors to do dubbing for the rest of my life, we're good to go. Because I could not tell at all. Like, there was not a single voice where I felt like it was that one guy who was just learning to act, in the film, that it was like, Captain, check over here. There's something, I can see it. There's always one of those people that's in the film. And you're like, oh God, how did he get hired? Where is he, the son of somebody? But yeah, so Sisu is amazing. It's amazeballs. We're gonna use that term. I want that. I'm gonna let the studio play with that. If they want to use that quote, John Stark from BackTheMovieGuy.com says it's amazeballs. And I think, this is not a film. This is not a critic film. What are we doing talking about this film? This is just something that you need to watch. This is just something we all need to watch, like, in life. If you like action movies and you have been missing out on something, you feel like there's been something just a little too serious. John Wick has just been, it's been great, and the fight choreography has been great, but it's just a little too realistic, a little too serious for you. If you felt that in your action films recently, or from any, man of a particular set of skills, in that genre, then Sisu is for you, because Sisu is just, I don't know, nonsensically amazing. I loved every minute of this film. It was so entertaining. I love that, even the stupid things about the film, like even the things I was like, wow, how many chapters are in this film? There are chapters in this film, but they seem so short. Like, they really overused the use of chapters. So, like, you're like, damn, we're gonna get to like chapter 27? Like, where are we going with chapters? I can't even remember what the final one, because by the time you get down to the last chapter, it doesn't. You have to have been keeping up on the number. I think we got to like nine chapters or something, 8 or 9. So, a film is usually in like a 3-act structure. Well, this threw that out the window. This is in chapters, bitches. So what is Sisu? It's not the name of the guy. The name of the guy is, I don't know, it's something unpronounceable, like October or something. I don't ask me. He doesn't need a name. He should be the man with no name. This should be the new guy. This should be the new man with no name. I never need a name for this guy. We do not need to know. He has some Russian version of his name, which translates to the Immortal, and that worked for me. I didn't actually need to know his real name. Yeah, he's a minor, but he's like legendary because he used to fight for Finland's army, and he killed a lot of people. He has like at least 300 confirmed kills on Russians, and Russians used to, they called him the Immortal, like, because he seemingly couldn't be killed, and meanwhile he's racking up the kills. So but he just seems kind of like a little bit of an older guy, really quiet. He's a miner, and he goes and he finds some gold one day, and he hops on his horse, and he's headed home. But unfortunately, it's World War II, and there's like a Nazi occupation of Finland, and they're doing this like scorched earth thing. So, yeah, obviously he butts heads with some Nazis, and they awaken something in him. And I will say, at first, I was really worried because this guy also has a dog, and I was like, are they going to John Wick this shit? Is this dog going to die? Dog kind of seems kind of useless, by the way, and kind of stupid. He's not really a useful dog. He's not one of those. He's just a dog. Just like, there's just a dog following him around. But yeah, eventually he's stopped by Nazis, and they figure out that he's got some gold, and they're going to try to take it from him. And then we find out how badass this guy really is. Pulls his shit out, starts killing Nazis, and that kind of never stops. He just kind of keeps moving forward in the film, and after set piece 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 after set piece, and things get more and more and more ridiculous. And I loved every single moment of this. He barely speaks. I think he has maybe 5 words of dialogue in the whole thing. Seriously. Most of his dialogue is at the end of the film. The rest of the time he just kind of stares at people, and it's like there's this like unspoken, you know, they just know. They know what's going on. Like, oh yeah, yep, okay, I got it. So, the great opportunity for tons of audio description from Jedediah Barton, who crushes it here. I previously had said I think John Wick Chapter 4 was the most audio description ever. This is pretty close. There's more dialogue in this film because the Nazis have some dialogue between them, and but it's still not a lot. This still is really like a lot of audio description. It's not as long as John Wick, though, but it is a lot of audio description because this film is pretty much constantly combat. And it's all these little tricky things that he does, because this guy would have killed John Wick. If this guy had ever come up against John Wick would be dead. There are things that John Wick is put up against in his own franchise that are not nearly as death-defying as the things that this guy has to go through. I can't even explain what he survives in this film. It just makes no sense, but it's fun and I loved it. This you hear the term sometimes, you have to turn your brain off. You kind of have to just turn your that part of you that wants to say that could never happen. That little Karen that's in the back of your voice, turn her off. That's all you have to do. And if you can just turn that off, this is really fun. Just accept the fact that there's a reason why this guy has been called the Immortal. I mean, he's probably not. I have to say probably, because I don't really know. I hope we see more Sisu films. I really do. I had a blast in this. This is one of the best films of the year that I love this. Turn this on. It doesn't ask much of you except to just have fun. Just have fun with it. The villains are Nazis, so of course you want them all to die. The villains aren't even they're not even complicated people. They're not even people where you're like, he killed the wrong. I don't know if that person. It's not like with John Wick where you get attached to one of the assassins and you're like, oh, I like that guy. He was kind of cool, you know? No, these are all Nazis, so they all die. Deserve to die immediately, if not sooner. So it's the perfect formula where you have one guy who has all of the powers of Keanu and Liam Neeson and Jason Statham and anybody who's ever been in one of these, secretly I'm I mean, I know I look like a janitor, but actually, I used to be a trained trained killer. Anybody who's ever been in one of those roles, this guy, he birthed all of them. He made all of them. They're probably all his children. So, um, there were things that happened in this film I've never seen before. And I don't mean like visually, I mean like in film. And that, to me, just, it's so refreshing to have certain scenes that are shot that are innovative enough where somebody is like, well, what if this happened? Well, what if he did this? And I was like, oh my God. Gross, but oh my God. That makes no sense, but oh my God. So, yes, please watch this. This was a blast. And with audio description, definitely, because you would miss out on all of the action. This dude never talks. So, he's always running around and just killing people and finding ways of making other people die and shoot themselves, or I don't know. It's hilarious. This film is great. It's a blast. It's not super serious. I don't know how bloody it is for like the sighted audience, but it feels just like it can't be any more bloody than any of the other films that are like this in the genre. We didn't start blowing up heads or anything like that. This reminded me of Big Game, which was this ridiculous movie where this kid is being chased by Samuel L. Jackson in the wilderness. And that was silly. It was silly, but it was fun. I feel like this is better than that. This is more cohesive, and I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more. I think the director of this really needs to be looked at for future projects, because what he put together here, I think, is really worth taking a look at. There aren't really any surprises because, again, all of his villains are Nazis. He never really has to make that choice of, I gotta kill this guy to get out, but he's not a Nazi. He's one of mine. What am I gonna do here? No, they're all Nazis. So, I mean, it's really not a deep film. Everybody he comes up against is just like Nazi dead, Nazi dead, Nazi dead, you know? It's just over and over and over and over. So, just a really fun time, and I have no problem giving this the grade that I'm giving it. I thought the audio description was excellent. There's a moment in the film, I knew the moment I was going to say, like, that I was bowing to Jedediah on this one was, there's a point where where the guy is on his horse, he's going down a road, and Jedediah has narration that describes how the shadow is cast onto the ground. I was like, oh my God, what? You take that level of detail in this scene? Like, he's really trying to paint the picture here of how the, of the shadow being cast, and the way that the paths wind, and whether they're paved or unpaved, what the explosions look like, everything. I mean, it's just, the audio description here is so perfect. It's like a work of art. Everything about this film, just bar none, one of my favorite films of the year. Might end up in my top 10. Currently, I think Air is my favorite film of the year because of, like, technically, and I generally love everything Ben Affleck does. I think this might be my favorite film of the year right now, in terms of enjoyment level. Like, I enjoyed the ever-loving hell out of this. I would watch this. Definitely, I'd watch this again. So, this was a blast, an absolute blast, and I'm honored to give Sisu an A. I loved this more than John Wick Chapter 4. This, to me, was fun. They didn't overthink it. I don't have to learn about, there's no world that's established. We're not trying to, like, make spin-offs and sequels. It's just one guy, and he's really good at doing one thing, and it's perfect. So, it's not going to win any awards, but yeah, at the end of the year, I will remember this one. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I hope you guys check out Sisu. And you can also check out my website, macmovieguy.com. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org, where you can see what does have audio description and where you can watch it. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, or Threads at macmovieguy. And you can go to the ADNA.org, where you can look up Jedediah Barton and you can see what else he's narrated, because he's narrated a lot of things. And that is it for me. I will review something else and see you guys on the other side.